Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video I'm going to be showing you yet another different type of bean pod in that you can do. You can do this in scroll work, which is a neat way of doing it, or you can add it to just about anything. The way we're going to make this is we're going to use our butcher or our hot cut in the hardy hole of the anvil to basically make a small fuller around. Now my hot cut, I don't ever make it really sharp. I actually just make it to where it has a light, how do you want to say it? It has a 1/16 of an inch flat all the way across. I believe that's a 1.5 mil or a 2 mil flat, somewhere in there for you guys who are out across the pond. And that helps me make little fuller marks like this, as well as cut things off. Now we're going to take and segregate out these in cubes of material. Every time I say a cube of material, if this was square, it would be 3/8. This is 3/8 round, so it's going to be 3/8 in length, if that makes sense. So as if this was a square bar, it would make a cube of material. So we're just going to roll this right on around, and basically it's going to act as a fuller for us. Take your time. You want to do a good job of this, and make sure that you cut to about the same depth with each one. So I'll go ahead and get this good and hot again. And while that takes and cooks up, gets a little hotter, I'd just like to say thank you for joining me. Hopefully you're enjoying the video so far, and I hope you are getting something from my channel if you are new here. Something good from my channel, I should say. We have over 1,000 videos. Actually, we have over 1,100 videos on YouTube to take and help you in your blacksmithing endeavors, whether it be in blacksmithing business. We have entire blacksmithing playlists for you to watch, a business playlist to watch. I'll put those in the description down below. And we also have a ton of tutorials and how-tos just like this one that you can watch, as well as inspirational content and some other things. So a bit of a variety. And we hope you'll stick around and continue to watch. So again, just another cube of material. To the uninitiated or to somebody who's short on time to watch a YouTube video, this is much like watching mold grow or paint dry. There's not a whole lot of interest here, other than that this is what we just continue to do to make the bean pod itself. Now this is only one type of stylized bean pod. We are not trying to go for realism here. This is to be a representation of a bean-like pod. That does not mean it is a bean pod. It doesn't mean that it's taking and it's a specific kind of bean. It is just meant to be a representation. Now, fun fact, this is also the same exact operation if you're wanting to make a rattlesnake. The tail of a rattlesnake, this is the same type of operation here. So I'm keeping this fire running here, full tilt. So this way, hopefully I can get through this demonstration without it being too long, take too much of your time. And I'm about done with this little bit of an end of a bean here. And if I haven't mentioned yet, we're going to be turning this into a scroll. So you'll want to stick around to watch that, hopefully. So we're starting with this segmenting out before we neck down to segregate out the bean pod itself. The reason for that being is because if we didn't do this first, all these little, once we start making and hammering all these, the thin little neck that we forge on the stem of our scroll would end up looking, well, let's just say it would end up causing us a problem in the long run. Basically, it would try to break off while we forge the rest of these things out, which is a bad thing. So there we go. So now we've got our beans. You want them to be as close as you can with one another, but again, this is a representation of nature, so they don't absolutely have to be. Now we're going to go ahead and cool off those segments there, except for that last bit. And we're going to try to heat the whole thing up again, this time pushing that past the edge of the fire. Take our hot cut off the edge of the anvil, and we're going to switch to our regular crossbeam hammer. We're going to be on the far side edge of the anvil, and we're going to be drawing this down with some half-on, half-off blows, like you've seen me do in the past. And that again is to take and offset that bean pod to one side for this scroll. As I mentioned in the other bean in scroll video or bean pod scroll video that should have came out before this one, you want that bean pod in its final resting place to be dangling, looking like it's hanging there. That's kind of the magic that kind of sells it, you know. That's what you want. If it's pointed upwards, it doesn't look right. So, okay, so now we got that section hot. We're gonna bring it up to the edge there. We're gonna use half-on, half-off blows to forge down the stem here into that bean pod, into that last fuller mark we had. And we're gonna go ahead and take off those sharp corners. It's going to be okay. It's going to kind of bend a little bit, but we want that. We're going to round that right on up here closer to it. And now we're going to heat that up one more time. So here comes the rest of the magic. We're going to go ahead and give this bean pod just a little bit of curvature, so this way it fits better in our scroll. And just like in the other bean pod video, if you haven't seen that video, I suggest you watch it. I'll put a link to it right here in the corner of the card. I think it's in this corner. It might be in this corner. It's up here somewhere. Go look at it there. So this way it'll make more sense. So we're giving that bean pod just a wee bit of curve. Okay? And now, if you notice, there's a gap there. So now we're going to go ahead and take and scroll around that there. So hopefully I can make this look pretty good. It'll look really good to you. But we will see. Sometimes you never know, ladies and gents. So we're going to try to scroll this right on around. Nice and tight right there close to the bean pod is the trick. You want to leave a nice negative space there, just like so. Now, one of the things that you can do to make this look a lot better is if you have a die in a guillotine or a scissor swedge that can take and make each one of these round. It looks even better yet. So, in my humble opinion, if you will. So now we're going to heat this up even more. We want to stay off that thin little stem. We don't want that to burn or break off. So we're going to go ahead and cool it off right there in the whole bean pod section. And we're going to continue to scroll the rest of this piece up around it. We're going to go ahead and cool that down. We don't need that to bend anymore. We need to get the rest of our bend going. And we just don't want that to bend really anymore if we can keep from it. Okay, that's got that. We got that first part nice and set up. And now's the rest of this forging here. We'll cool that off just a little more, just so this way we can control that heat. Well, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. Thank you for watching it up to this point, if you're around this far. If you would like to take and support more videos like this and everything we do here at Christ Center Ironworks, I'd like to mention once again, about our website, blacksmithpdfs.com. It's a great way for you to donate to the channel and also receive things like power hammer plans and stuff like ebooks that Jessica and I have made for you to take and help you in your blacksmithing endeavors, your businesses. And then, you know, we've got different power hammer and tooling plans and bundles of that nature to take and help you with making tooling on your own and prints and templates. And we've got free stuff over there and paid downloads. You can check all that out again at blacksmithpdfs.com, and I suggest you do so. It can be a great resource. So now we're going to just continue to scroll this right on up. So we want to keep this negative space if we can, as it looks particularly attractive in my opinion. So we want to keep that negative space, and now we need to roll the rest of this scroll right on around. So we're going to take another long heat on this, and we'll continue that scroll right on around. And now I'm into a point where, even though I had it on that long 2-foot long handle, I'm going to need tongs to hold on to it because all that material is being sucked up into the scroll, which is okay. That's what we want. We want to be able to, you know, have enough material to start with, but just something to keep in mind. Even though you start with a 2-foot handle, if you still want extra to hold on to after you've got your scroll rolled up, you may need a 4-foot handle to start with in order to be effective at this. Again, over the far edge, we've taken an even longer heat, and we're just looking to get a nice even curve. Want that nice gentle curve in there. We're going to have to tweak it a little bit to get some of that negative space back, but we'll do that after we get some more rolled around there, and we'll tweak that little bean end around a bit. These are fairly open scrolls, and you know, they're fairly loose. Usually, again, they are added to other scroll work, so it's not a standalone scroll. It's usually kind of like a finish or a tendril that's coming off one end of the scroll. And if you've been following this series along and you've been practicing this yourself, at the end of my series on doing all these different types of scrolls, there's going to be a large project that I'm putting together that you'll get to see all these different techniques come into play. So it would be behoove of you, or smart of you if you will, in layman's terms, to invest in doing this for practice, because you never know when it's going to come in handy. Very cryptic. So anyways, that's where I'm going to leave that. Leave you off here. Again, this will have to be adjusted just a bit. This here, I'll have to heat this section up and pull that back just a fuzz to get it to where I want it to be. I want to keep that negative space right. But you guys get basically ideal. I don't want to keep you too long. But there is another simple variant of a bean end scroll, you guys, or a bean pod scroll. You can make different variations of this if you like, and just experiment and add it to your work. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and comment what you thought down below. As always, God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.